Now Ian is over, well, it looks like Captiva near Bonita Springs.
But you also have the storm is so massive, and people are kind of comparing this to the track that Charlie took in 2004.
It just came flying by.
Charlie was strong, but it was a fraction of the size of what we're dealing with here with Hurricane Ian.
Before, after.
You're seeing where the water, the surge came in, but also the water flowed back out.
The death toll now sits at more than 130, the highest from any Florida storm since 1935. More than 5 times the U.S. death toll from Hurricane Andrew, Category 5, 30 years ago.
Hey guys, it's great to see you. It honestly and truly is. Before I start, I want to send out prayers and condolences to those that have lost their lives during Hurricane Ian. This truly was an intense storm. At this time, we've pretty much lost over 130 people to this storm, and there are still so many people missing, and I can't imagine the families that are hoping and praying that they're okay and they just lost communication and stuff. But you know, I just want to give awareness to those that have lost their lives. I also want to thank people like, police officers, the, medical staff that have been helping people during this storm, line workmen, people working the poles and the electricity that gave us power back. There's so many people that I am very grateful for the time that they have come from different parts of the United States to come and help us. It has truly been a blessing. And I'll go into more detail within this video. I also want to thank phone services like AT&T and T-Mobile, because my sister has AT&T and she was in Fort Lauderdale and or in that area, and majority of my family, we have T-Mobile. And so with the exception of my father, he has other services that throughout the storm and even after the storm, he couldn't get a hold of anybody. And because I have T-Mobile, I was the only, source for him to reach out to his family and friends within the community and stuff. And so we are definitely very grateful for phone services like that, that even though towers and data and phone service was low, we were able to still communicate within our families during the storm. And especially this app called Zello. If you've never heard of it, it's an app that acts like a walkie-talkie that, yes, uses your phone data, but even goes down to 2G. So even if, the phone services are awful and whatnot, you can still at least send a message. It'll come slow, but at least, whoever you're sending it to will know that you're okay. And, same thing with walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies are instant versus a phone call. And because of Zello, it's a free app. You can, create even a group chat for all the people that you want to communicate. And that's what I did during the storm. And, it helped big time, because at least we all kept in touch with each other during the storm, whether it was good, whether it was bad. And like I said, I'm very, very grateful that phone services and an app like that was available for me and my family to stay connected. this was truly a storm that I've never come across. In all of the hurricanes that I went through, Andrew, when I was little, it was just a simple flood and stuff. It never even reached our house. Charlie in '04, that was big because we did occur some damage in the house. We had a broken window during the times of the high winds, and we lost our shed. But Hurricane Ian was a whole other storm. I mean, it was massive. Bigger than Andrew. Bigger than Charlie. And to experience something like this was like a movie. It was so surreal. And there was a moment that I even thought that I wasn't going to make it. Tuesday, September 27th, that was when we got the evacuation warning telling us that, zones A and B needed to evacuate. Of course, the night before, you had a chance to evacuate, early, but we figured that Ian wasn't going to be so bad, and so we chose to hunker down instead. I was planning on staying at my house because, hurricane Florida party, woo. But something told me, you know what? Let me go stay over by my folks. So I packed up my things, I got my cat Vanilla Bean, and we stayed over by my folks. And, that night was like any other night. You watch shows and stuff. I'm working on my tablet and whatnot, just trying to come up with something for Knights of Iran or, some of my videos. And just simple as that. We go to bed because knowing that the storm was coming our way the next day, it was, we knew what to expect, but we didn't know what we were expecting. It was Wednesday, 5 a.m. I woke up and I heard the rain, I heard the winds, but it was subtle. It was still dark out, so I couldn't really see anything. So I kind of waited until it got a little, brighter, which is usually about 7-ish or so over here. And, that's when I saw that our roads were flooded. And like I said, with Hurricane Andrew, the waters were even higher than what we experienced. But for the most part, it honestly felt like we were a castle and we just bought a moat. So seeing that this was just, the minor parts of Ian, again, we didn't think that this was going to be huge. We just thought it was just going to be just a normal hurricane, just passing us by. At that point, we were still in the green, where all you're getting is just light wind and just constant rain. But, with no power, all you could do is just keep each other company. And we made breakfast with what we had because we had propane tanks and stuff. And so we just, put together a simple light breakfast, nothing heavy. So yes, we started up the grill. We're gonna boil some water and then just go from there. So you can get ourselves a nice decent meal. Yes. And we just looked outside and just watched the wind and the rain just come and go and to and fro, and it was just so It felt normal. But as the hours went by, left and right, we can hear the small booms of transformers blowing and even trees falling. And it was only a matter of time that we knew that the wind was going to start picking up.
In T-minus 20 more minutes, we'll be at the eye of the storm. As you can see, the wind is starting to build up, but we're doing strong. We have no power, but we're doing strong.
It was 2:46 p.m. Around that time, Ian landed and was making his way through our area. And we were no longer in the green zone. We were actually in the head of the storm. The winds were definitely picking up, and at that time it was a Category 4, blowing with winds of 155 miles an hour, just a shy away from a Category 5. And unfortunately, it was moving slow. And when I mean slow, it was moving at 8 miles an hour. At that time, I couldn't really record anything because my folks, they were trying to pin down and save everything that was out in the lanai, and they wanted to tape the windows down as the wind was just blowing it. And we did the best that we could until I felt that it was time for us to close the doors and just hunker down because the winds were starting to pick up. At 5:45, that's when we noticed that the kitchen was starting to leak from the ceiling. And, we didn't think nothing of it. We just simply got buckets and we cleaned that area over by the kitchen sink, which is next to the window. And as we were cleaning that, the light fixture over our head was building up with water to the point where the cover fell. Luckily, no one was hurt. And so then that's when we figured, okay, just another small minor cleanup, nothing that we couldn't handle. So we got buckets, the water was coming in, and, just filling it up as we were just mopping and cleaning. I remember my dad telling me to empty out the bucket so we can, refill again. And I went to the bathroom to empty it out. And then that's when I heard a loud crash. And that's when my dad, yelled for me, and I ran. Luckily, my folks made it out on time as we were looking at the gaping hole that was our kitchen.
Okay. We need to reassess the house again, Dad.
And that, to me, was a wake-up call. Luckily, it wasn't flood dangerous or anything. It wasn't dangerously flooding or anything. It was just, causing the ground to get wet. And also a piece of the garage also caved in as well. We were doing everything we can to, save that area. And then that's when I got that notice. It was then that I made that decision. It's time to hunker down and brace ourselves, because with high winds, we didn't know what to expect. I rushed over to my folks' bedroom and I just started taking out all their clothes out of the closets to make sure we had room for us and stuff. I got Vanilla Bean in her carrier. And for that time, we hunkered down. But to hear the wind, that massive, powerful wind, it was like a train just mowing through. And the pressure in my ears was just going in and out and in and out, because we have a hole and the wind was just blowing through, and you could feel the house shaking with each rumble, with each roar of the wind, and it was just massive. It was massive. It felt like it was going on forever. And, you know, I kept in touch with my siblings. I checked on them to make sure that they were okay. And I didn't want them to freak out what was happening over to us. And so, you know, I kept, you know, and they admitted to telling me that they heard it in my voice, but I wanted to make sure that, you know, I wasn't freaking them out. And so, you know, I remember contacting my sister and asking her, you know, how soon is this going to go away? How close are we? How many more hours? How many more minutes are we going to, you know, at least reach the eye of the storm, where once you're in the eye, it's that odd peace. The wind kind of dies down, and at least I just wanted that break, that moment before, you know, the tail end of the storm was coming. But unfortunately, my sister said, "You're not going to touch the eye." And she was right. We were at the wall of the eye. And not only were we at the wall, but we were still in the high winds, the yellow of the storm with the harsh, heavy winds for 4 hours.
Bill, we know that Hurricane Ian is now a Category 3. No such thing as a weak hurricane, and a Category 3 is still a monster, still a major.
Around 10:30, 11:30-ish or so, that's when Ian finally calmed down to a Category 3 and was, once again, 8 miles an hour, slowly moving its way further up. And it wasn't long before we finally were at least in the green area of the storm, where we could kind of relax a little bit. But I stayed up until about 2:30 in the morning, because that's when we knew that the storm would be officially out of our area and we could be in some type of peace, at least for that moment. But I honestly only slept for a couple of hours. I woke up to like dead silence.
Hi, Vanilla Bean. You did it, puppy. We made it.
Okay, so it's 4:20 a.m. I've checked, the water has receded where the roads are sort of cleared. It's time to kind of slowly assess the house, my folks' house, and just see how we do. But this was huge. This was like something out of a freaking movie, maybe worse. I don't know. I've never seen a storm so big in my entire life, and I was honestly scared. I really was. But God saw us through it, and that's what matters. And we're all okay. We're all alive, and I just thank God. I truly thank God for this. I do. Okay, so when daybreak kicks in, we're going to see how things look. Bye.
We assessed the inside first, of course, because it was still dark out. And when it got brighter, that's when we were truly able to see the effects of what Ian did to my folks' place. My siblings' place, they handled it very well. Yes, we had damage, but still nothing compared to, what my folks have to deal with. But again, I'm glad that I stay with my folks, because if I didn't, who knows what could have happened. And over time, numerous help came. Our church, they have a convoy of helpers from Virginia called God's Pit Crew. And they are angels in disguise.
Main caravan of God's Pit Crew got here. We saw volunteers already out surveying the damage, offering to help those who needed trees removed from rooftops and providing hope to these residents, some of which still waiting for power to return.
Someone from the church signed up my folks' place, and they came and they tarped up the house, both inside and out. It's a non-for-profit company, and they've gone above and beyond to help us, and we are truly grateful for them. My sister, when the roads were okay to, come to our area, she supplied us with a generator and food and whatnot to keep us going while, we were without power. And, she went above and beyond, to get us gas as well. My neighbors that my folks and I live around, they went above and beyond as well and helped cut a tree that was in the way of my driveway. And, they all helped us in every single, thing that we needed. And we helped them, of course, because that's what neighbors do. That's what neighbors are supposed to be. And then we have Winn-Dixie. Oh, wow. Not only were they a well-oiled machine, but they were so kind enough to supply us with water, with ice, cleaning supplies, and various types of food. And, it was such a blessing. It truly, truly was, that the community can come together in times like this and just survive. If I've learned anything from this insane experience, materials like, a mic, a PlayStation controller, headphones. You can replace all this, but you can't replace a life. I want to thank you all again, subscribers new and old, for sticking along with me on my journeys to this channel. And, I truly, truly appreciate and love you guys so much for, the comments that I read when, again, no power and all that stuff. And I was, using my phone to just use the time to watch videos and whatnot. And those I replied to and saw the comments, they were beautiful, I love reading comments. I will try to get back to my normal uploading schedule, as I am still recovering from this insane roller coaster. of an experience. Because I mean, I still have so much more to show you guys. I mean, my Halloween Horror Nights experience, my Howl-O-Scream over by Busch Gardens. And for the gamers out there, stay tuned for videos because I'll be playing some scary video games. I look forward to posting more content for you guys. This is Naisha, and I'm just an average girl. God bless, and stay tuned.